What's going on, guys? It's the Crypto Lark here from Wellington. Today, we're going to finally be talking about Nexus. I've had a lot of people asking me about this one for the past couple of weeks, mainly because they have this big conference coming up in Aspen where, Berwick and Ron Paul and all these guys are going. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but it's a really interesting project, Nexus Earth, and we're going to be getting into all those details after a quick shout out to everyone who is hitting that like button and subscribing down below to the channel, guys. Thank you so much for everyone who is supporting my channel. It's a really awesome journey here on YouTube. And of course, quick disclaimer, this is not professional financial advice, guys. This is just one guy talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet. Let's get into it. So what is Nexus? Nexus is money. It's kind of refreshing, actually. Money. I tell you, it's great. If I had, some days I feel like, oh my God, it's another decentralized app platform. No, it's okay. I like reviewing those too. And the supercomputers, those are also fun. But I'm really happy to talk about Nexus today. It's a great project. It's really, first impression, it's really libertarian in its nature. And I guess a lot of the crypto space, the old school crypto space in particular, that was the vision, right? To free us from the banks and free us from the tyranny of, the man and all that stuff. And that's great. That's great. It's one of the reasons I don't invest in Ripple, even though I'll mention some Ripple news once in a while, because why not? I know a lot of people are interested in that, but it's pretty cool for that. Now, let's get into it and talk about what it is Nexus is trying to do. So Nexus is planning on launching satellites into space early next year to keep the network up and running at all times. They also have two different parts to their ground network. They're going to have, actual physical stations that are going to relay, the blockchain. And they want to have what's called the mesh. And so that was when, regular users like me or you can, go out and buy, I suppose, from the Nexus shop, a little antenna and put it outside, the apartment here, for example, and, I can be broadcasting the network as well. So there's that option to get involved. Of course, if you do want to do that, you have to go out and buy your own antenna, probably from the Nexus shop. But so the network's not up and running yet in that way. That is the long-term vision, to actually get these satellites into space, get these ground networks running, get the ground stations running, although the blockchain is up and running and you can mine Nexus now. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, it is a peer-to-peer payment network. No surprise there, of course. Now, they are using the SK1024 hashing algorithm. It's their own kind of thing. So it's, it's not SHA-256, not X11. It's its own thing. If you do want to get involved in mining, you can get over here and check out their page. It's got all the resources that you might want if you do want to get involved in mining Nexus. I might even hook my old laptop up and, have a play around with it just for fun. Now, it is a consensus model. So there's two ways to get your hands on Nexus. One is by proof of work. So 2 out of 3 new Nexus coins will be issued by proof of work, and the other is by proof of stake. So as they call it, minting. And the more reputation you have, the more trust you have in the network, the more likely it is that you'll be able to mint a new block. One other thing too, is that the block reward adjusts every block. That's really interesting. Of course, if you guys know Bitcoin, it halves like every 4 years, which is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. You wake up one day and then boom, tomorrow the rewards go down by half. It's going to be a tricky situation here in a few years for everyone who is mining. And the blocks are timed as well, so it doesn't depend on, like Bitcoin Cash the other day we saw, for example, they did their difficulty adjustment in a couple of days because they mined so many blocks so quickly. And the difficulty here also adjusts every single block, so it's constantly updating, right? The block rewards and the difficulty constantly. So that's pretty interesting. I like that. It's actually a very reactive model versus, the long-term planning. I suppose it could have its difficulties as well. At least with Bitcoin, we know that it's going to be a few years before the halving happens. I suppose here that could happen quicker. The block rewards could fall exponentially if too many people are mining, for example. Now, the other thing, it's probably the most secure as far as, private keys. They wanted to make a highly quantum resistant coin. So it's a 571-bit encryption private key. To give you a sense of scale, Bitcoin is 256 bits. So it's way, way over top of, what is necessary for actually bit encryption. So that's great. Of course, it's scalable. Everybody loves scalability. Scalability is a fantastic thing. And they've got two other features here that I really want to talk about, and that's reversible transactions and two-way signatures. So a transaction can be reversed if it doesn't meet a time requirement. So say you send out a transaction, you say, okay, if it hasn't processed in 30 minutes, the transaction's canceled. You can do that. You can't do that with Bitcoin. That's a nice feature. I really like that. And two-way signatures. So this actually, if the other person doesn't sign it, they don't get it. So say, for example, you send it to the wrong address by mistake, right? The other person doesn't verify, or maybe doesn't see it, or God forbid, they do, and then they take it. But, they, after 30 minutes, you have your time stamp set up. It, doesn't go through, and it comes back because it wasn't signed. That's good. I like that. Those are really interesting features to add in, and I'm very happy to see that with Nexus Earth here. So that's pretty cool. I had to mention this in the white paper. The white paper is a very interesting read. Really goes into a lot of depth with different mathematical equations and the history of Bitcoin, and there's a lot of nice quotes and stuff in here. And this is such a unique feature of a white paper. I want to say blown away, kind of blown away. It's very interesting. They end up talking a lot about philosophy near the end. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. Yes, fear is the mind killer. Oh my God, this is great. I love it. I love it. So they actually talk a lot about philosophy. Yes, from Frank Herbert's The Dune. We all know this. We all know this. It's amazing. He goes into some Immanuel Kant. We go into the Tao down here. It's very, very, very interesting. Talking about how we make change, and it's a very interesting project. Like I said, it's an incredibly libertarian project coming from almost a philosophical point of view. The entire idea of Nexus Earth about, freeing us from the bonds of financial slavery that's been put on us by, government and the big banks and all this stuff. And God, to be honest, it's true. It's true. Okay, moving on. If you do want to come buy some Nexus Earth t-shirts and stuff, you can get that too. Probably the only crypto project I've seen that sells the t-shirts and caps and mugs and stuff like this. So it's why not? Why not? I should start selling some CryptoLark t-shirts. That'd be fun too. Long live the blockchain. That'd be hilarious. Okay, continuing. So, who's the mastermind behind this? It's Colin Cantrell. Colin Cantrell, he is the mastermind behind this. If you see, he enjoys the study of physics, philosophy, history, and cryptography. No surprise. No surprise. Now, these guys are very serious about what they're doing. Now, I'm just gonna skip over that for a second. We're gonna come back and talk about why they're so serious about what they're doing. Have a look at the Twitter here. This is, of course, Max Keiser, and that is, of course, Ron Paul. Max Keiser is going on a, cross-America journey right now, talking about Dash, and one of their first stops, I guess Ron Paul picked him up, or he's going along the camper van, whatever the heck it might be. God, that'd be a fun camper van to be in. Can you imagine that? Hanging out with Max Keiser and Ron Paul, road tripping across America. They're going to this. They're going to the Nexus Earth Conference. Up in Aspen, of course, in the mountains. Now, this is a really, really interesting conference. And Colin, of course, has, organized all this. And, I look at the people that he has got to come. I look at the event that he's been able to organize. And, it's so interesting. So interesting. The guest list here is just outstanding. Of course, we got Roger Ver coming. Jeff Berwick is coming. Ron Paul, Jesse Ventura, Dennis Kucinich. Max Keiser, of course, as mentioned, and you know, a lot more names. This is just kind of the top people. It's a 3-day conference, and I think a lot of the run-up in the price of Nexus has been as a result of all the hype, actually, around this exciting list of people who are coming to this event, who are going to be talking about it. And so it's really interesting. Look, Nexus is a great project. You know, they've definitely put a lot of their work in here to get the project up, get it running, get it, you know, people talking about it, and it's definitely a strong currency and will be a good competitor in the space, I think, moving forward. You know, there's so many features that make it really great, from all the things I mentioned about the quantum resistance, the highly secure encryption keys, you know, the proof, there is a third of its proof of stake, and, you know, it's great. I think it's a really, really interesting project. Now, of course, got to keep it real. Also, you know, yes, there's a lot of space in the crypto space for more coins, right? And especially when atomic swaps become the norm, it won't matter what coin you have. You'll be able to swap it out and pay for anything, anywhere, at any time. You know, you'll probably have a system of a lot of coins, and prices might be marked in Bitcoin, but you can pay in any coin. That's a potential future situation that we're seeing. So, I guess the downsides of Nexus, you know, are they going to pull it off? It really looks like they're pulling it off right now. That's for sure. That is for sure. So, I don't know. I don't see a lot of downs with this one. I think it's a really good currency project, and I wish them a lot of success, I suppose. If you look at the money here, we've had a big run up. Back in July, it was only $40-some million. The market cap has absolutely exploded. Back in August, I think I've had this on my list here for a while. Somebody probably told me about it before it exploded. Sorry, guys. I try to get to them as soon as I can. I don't always get there soon enough. But right now, Nexus is up at its all-time high, basically. So I can't say this is the perfect time to buy Nexus. I mean, hey, maybe it's going to go on a bull run, and certainly we might see a little more excitement around Nexus in the next few days, and I think it's got really long-term good potential as a coin. But, you know, you gotta be careful about buying things at the all-time high. I mean, is it going to make a big old bull run and go up to, you know, $6-7? That's possible. The market cap's only 187 million. You know, if you look at coins that are, you know, not technically, in a technical sense, as good as this, you know, you see things a much higher, much higher ratings here. So that's interesting. You know, they'd only have to be up to $500 or $600 million market cap to actually have a pretty big effect here on the price, of course, of Nexus. You know, I could easily see this being a $500 million coin in the very near future, not to mention the long-term prospects of it, because it is such, you know, technically good coin. Really interesting project. I'm a big fan. I don't have any Nexus. I don't necessarily plan on getting any Nexus anytime soon, but I like it. I think it's a really interesting project. Anyway, guys, you know, as always, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Nexus? Is it all just hype because of the conference right now? Do you have Nexus? Is anyone out there staking their Nexus? And how's the minting going, if it is? I'd like to know about that in the comment section down below. Who's mining Nexus? How are the rewards going? Are you actually getting paid out pretty decently? Is it worth your time to mine Nexus? All questions I'd like answered. If you guys are involved in Nexus, and if you are, you know, doing that, please let me know about it in the comment section down below. Really curious to hear about that. Anyway, guys, that is all from the Crypto Lark. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into the channel. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time.